choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
What up, Insurance Syndicate? Happy Thursday. Hope everyone is having a killer day. Ready to get started. Obviously, I'm John Wetmore. Got my buddy here, Jefferson Rogers. Can you hear me, dude?
I can hear you.
We got you loud and clear. I love it, man. Thanks for getting on. So we've been promoting you a little bit the last week or so, but for those that don't know, didn't see it, I got to meet Jefferson. I think we met at a coach event or on the way to,
We met on an airplane on the way to New York.
Yeah, it was cool. So Jefferson, man, found out he owner of a large window sales company. If I remember right, I think in the last 5 years you've done something pretty crazy, like 40 million in revenue, and I didn't know this, dude. Do you have 100 employees, legit?
Yep.
Shit, dude. I struggle with employees, bro. Good for you. I'm impressed. I got a lot of agents, 1099, but employees, that's a different game, dude.
Yeah. Well, a bunch of them are 1099 salespeople.
Got it.
I got a bunch of installers and admin also.
Yeah, it's nuts. I know you got your own podcast. You're big on social. Got a book coming out. Doing all kinds of stuff, dude. And I enjoy watching what you got going on from a distance.
So appreciate it, man.
Yeah. And you're super. What I love is you're super open and transparent. I get to see you and the wife do your thing online, and in our group here, man, it is heavily insurance based. A lot of insurance agents, all different lines of insurance. But at the end of the day, dude, I think sales is sales. At its core, servicing people, customer service, taking care of our clients. You obviously have more of a physical product, but very similar, dude. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about how you got into sales. I know a little bit about your story, but how'd you get in? $40 million in revenue. There must be a dope story along the way.
Yeah, you know what? It was a long time coming for me, going through starting in construction. My dad's a general contractor, and he was a firefighter also for 27 years. So I came from a blue collar background. And, I got taught a lot of great things from my dad with work ethic and attention to detail and quality work. Just was applying it in an area where, I was limited. I was trading my time for money. I was, one of the best at what I did as an employee, but there was only so much that I could make.
Yeah.
So in 2014, my dad was a firefighter, and I was named after him, and he's just like one of the most badass human beings you've ever met. Big, burly, like he was on the firefighter calendar, Mr. February, like everything you can imagine about a firefighter, wielding an axe and having this just big personality. Yeah. So I had a lot to live up to. And in 2014, I thought I would give it a go for the fire department. And I dumped my heart and soul into that thing. And I studied day and night. I ended up testing at the top of the class. There were 650 people. I got a 97% on my test, and there was only one other guy that tested that good. And it ended up being that because of a 4-month discrepancy, because of a weed ticket, they disqualified me. All the old things. My dad always told me they'd come back to haunt me, and they just kept coming back to haunt me.
Yeah.
So later in 2014, a friend showed up at my house with a sample window. And he said, I just got started with this company. I'm selling windows. You're going to love this sample window. The thing sells itself. And that was kind of my first real introduction into sales. And this thing really did, have all these bells and whistles and really cool things. And I did construction and seeing the contractor grade windows that I had installed hundreds and hundreds of.
Got it.
All the differences. And it's like, man, I think I might be able to really believe in this and get out of being a mechanic and go and start doing sales.
No kidding.
It took a while to start doing it, but I finally started doing it. It took me a while to even start getting good because I'd been smoking weed and being a mechanic for so long, hanging around miserable people, that hanging out in somebody's living room talking about a product was the furthest thing from my comfort zone. But I eventually started getting good at it. How
long did it take you to get good at sales, you think?
Oh, dude, I didn't have much of a system to plug into. They just gave me a script and said, when you get your first appointment set up, just let us know, bro. We'll come close it down for you.
Was it phones? Were you pounding the phones or door to door?
Door to door, man.
Door to door. No kidding. Okay.
Yep. So
Cold.
I went out there, just
walk canvas in neighborhoods.
Just go to a neighborhood that seems good, that's this old and this home value, and that's where we'll have our best success. And I had to go learn this script. And what I didn't know was how important that script was, because I thought that, I could just take all this charisma and good looks and just go tell people about windows and they just want to sit down with us. And it just didn't work that way.
What'd you learn? What'd you change? What was the secret to getting in?
So what I started to learn was that the script, this thing had been developed over years and years. It had been passed down from company to company, and it had, started 25 years ago with this company named Apex, and they just kind of kept evolving it and building in all the psychology and urgency and an opportunity. And that unless you use this script, you're just out there just lumped in with everybody else giving estimates. Yeah. So I learned, and I had to learn this thing over and over and over because I kept going back to thinking that I could just go smooth talk everybody,
just wing it,
sit down with them, and winging it. But I learned that script was the most important thing for me. And then, when I started my own business, we've put a big emphasis on that, because you can take anybody off the street that works at a restaurant or does construction or is a painter, and you tell them the seriousness of this system and they could go follow it and have success. And I got guys that came from making 30 grand to now they're making $250,000, $300,000 a year.
Yeah. And it's funny, we talk the same language. It's just insurance instead of windows.
It's like, it's all these
people come in,
principles.
They try to wing it and they're like, dang, I didn't make 300 grand. What happened? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just guessing you probably didn't, learn some things. How long did you sell individually before you started your own deal? So
I went from 2014 until I was just looking at this. I was looking at my contract list the other day, and it was like February 17th, 2020 was the last deal that I personally wrote. So it was.
Were you still working for another company?
No, that was my career between, that was between 4 companies. My last one that I wrote was for another company in 2020.
So you moved around to a couple different window sales places.
Yep.
Got it. How'd you do your first year? Like, give us some perspective. Like, did you kill it, or once you figured out the script thing, or did you like suck and want to quit?
When I first started?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was terrible. I didn't have direction. I didn't have a mentor. I remember the first store that I ever went to, I could probably drive back to the same exact house. Like when you're all emotional and it's like the scariest thing, you just like remember things so good.
Yeah.
But I go back to that same neighborhood that I was in, and I was just terrible. I fumbled all over myself and I was scared to death. I'd actually done, for a short period of time, I got recruited into Primerica. And I got a little experience sitting down at the kitchen table and kind of watching people present and doing insurance and investments. Yeah. But this was a whole new animal, going out there knocking on doors cold. Everybody that I sat down with before was like my aunt and uncle and my cousins and stuff. I was like really comfortable with them. Yeah. It's a lot different. But I really was terrible, dude. I bet it all. Like, I quit my job. I bet it all. I was not going to go back. I was watching these guys having success. And I was like, if those freaking guys can do it, I know that I can do it.
See, dude, a lot of guys that have success think like that, bro. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, that was my key. I had that since I was a kid. I'm like, I didn't have a lot and I sucked at a lot of things, but I always thought if that dipshit can do it, so can I.
Exactly.
I wish more people thought that way, you know, where they think some of us are special for some reason. I'm like, yeah, we work hard, but I mean,
no,
hell, hang out with me for
I
a few
think
minutes.
maybe we are special because we think that way, because it's
true.
It's not a very common way of thinking.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people I've learned. I didn't realize this. There's a lot of people who don't believe they can accomplish something that someone else has. I didn't know that till last few years.
Yeah.
Did you ever want to quit sales during that journey, or did you know this was for you?
I knew that I didn't want to go back. I never wanted to pick up another hammer. I never wanted to pick up another wrench and go work alongside these miserable human beings that have been, you know, framing houses and working on diesels for 20 years, and they're just miserable. And it was just a negative environment. I knew that I never wanted to go back there. Yeah. And I remember lots of conversations when I first got started in Windows, you know, justifying my lack of production, talking to my uncle and my aunt, just saying, maybe this isn't for me. You know, these guys are kind of greasy salespeople. And I was making excuses for not putting in the work and developing myself.
Yeah. So it took me a while. Was your circle like validating it, telling you go back to whatever?
Oh yeah.
Or did you?
Yep, they were feeding into it, dude. That's the thing about having all these people around you that just love you. They don't realize what they're doing, and they've done it to themselves for so many years that they were just patting me on the back and saying, "You know what? You were so good at being a mechanic. You could always go back there."
Yeah. Craziness, dude. So give them some perspective. Like, do you remember what you made your first year in sales? Do you have any clue? Roughly.
Yeah. My first year, I think I made 50 grand. It was from February on. And for the first couple of months, I mean, I barely made anything. Yeah. I was just trying to figure it out, and I didn't realize the importance of following the system yet. I barely made anything. And I borrowed money from my in-laws, and I maxed out my credit cards. And then one of the big things that I remember is I was working for this guy that was a golfer, and he was a drinker. He was going through some troubles with his wife. I started figuring out that I don't think he's going on many of my appointments that I'm setting up. It's like I'm setting all these appointments that I think are good. So I would go camp out on these appointments and be like, he's not showing up. And then he'd give me some excuse. And he was actually out golfing or at happy hour with his buddies. God. And so then I was like, dude, you got to teach me this script. I got to take this into my own hands. I don't ever want to rely on anybody again to run my appointments. And then it took me another 6 weeks, and I ran 27 appointments. I had all these contracts and field work orders laid out on my bed in my guest room. 27 appointments I ran before I got my first sale. It was 6 weeks, and I was dead broke, dude. My wife was like, maybe we should go do something else. I mean, this isn't working.
It's 0 for 27. Killer.
0 for 27. And then as soon as I got that first sale and got that feeling that I was like, yes, I think I got this. Even though I forgot 6 windows and I had to go back and I canceled and had to save it. I just completely botched that first deal. But then I made 10 grand that next month.
Got it.
And so then, the rest of the year I was making more money than I ever made. I think I only made 50 grand, but it was over like a short period of time.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I think I got this.
Got it. What year was that? Did you say 14?
That was 2015.
15. Okay. What's crazy, dude, is we started making money about the same time. That's when I hit it.
No kidding.
Yeah, I was broke as shit before that.
Yep. 2014, I got introduced to the Windows, and I started knocking doors, just a handful of doors in November and December, and I started full-time in February 2015.
Got it. I'm going to put up, I don't know if you can see your screen. I'll read this. I'm going to put up a question. So Joe actually runs, him and a buddy run this Facebook group. He has a big nationwide PNC shop and always asks good questions. So he'll comment like crazy in here and always puts up questions. Can you see that question? Or you want me to read it? You can?
Yeah, I got it. What was the key outside of the script that helped you become comfortable in the uncomfortable when it comes to selling windows, cold door knocking? I was hungry to just change my life. I think that was the biggest thing. It was uncomfortable for me to go back to that shop. And one thing I did to myself was I told my uncle, I called him after like 4 weeks of doing windows, and I called him back because I kind of left on, not so good terms. And I asked him if he would have me back because I was getting my teeth kicked
No
out.
way. Got it.
Uh-huh.
Did he tell you no?
And then it made me sick, dude. It made me sick. I hung up the phone and I was so emotional. I was like, I can't fucking believe I just did that.
Yeah. Dude, coach talks about that a lot. Like that's one of the things that motivates people to change is kind of the fear of going back to what you had like just running away from something. It sounds like, it's kind of,
that's
kind of
I feel like that had a strong contribution to me just putting myself through all that hell and agony and uncertainty to learn sales. It's like, I never wanted to go back to that freaking shop.
Yeah. So now fast forward, and we can talk about anything you want, dude, or, I just like to chat, but now fast forward 100 people working for you, selling, some are W-2, some 1099, all good. I'm assuming, would I be wrong to assume it's similar to what we do? Like most people don't make it, or do people walk into windows and like you hire 10 and all 10 kill it? Or is it like you hire 10 and 10 quit and you got to hire 10 more?
That's about the way that it works.
Got it.
Yeah. I feel like we've got a great system. We've got great training, and I've taken people from every walk of life and been able to show them success if they were ready.
Yeah.
But dude, we recruit a ton of people. I've got an entire recruiting department, and we've got, 10 to 15 people coming in every week to these offices. And right now I'm sitting at 40 people. I mean, we've got at least 45, 50 people coming through every month. And my entire sales force is 40 people right now.
So how many people you think to get to, let's call it 100. Oh, you said your entire sales force is 40 right now?
40. Yep.
1099? Okay, cool. So to get to 40, just for perspective, because dude, I've had to interview like obscene numbers of people. What do you think? How many people you think come through your doors in the last, whatever it is, 8 years to get to 40 selling right now, roughly?
Man, I'm glad I don't pay attention to those numbers because it would make me not look so good. I mean, I think.
Hey, I'll tell you, mine's been over 10,000 for sure, dude. Now mine's combination of me. I personally, dude, I've interviewed thousands to get to whatever we're at, plus all the other people in my agency recruiting. So I look like crap too, just to be clear, when you look at it from that perspective.
Yep. But you know what? Nobody's the same, and not everybody's at the same place in their life that's ready for a change like this. And I've as many awesome success stories as I do have within the organization, these guys that completely changed their life, and that now they got family and assets and cars and cool they got stuff put together. It's so awesome to be able to see that. And so every time I sit down with somebody, I've got this enthusiasm just pouring out of me about the opportunity that you have to change your life. The system that we have that we can plug you into to be able to see success and go from making 30 grand a year to $150,000 in your first year. And I couldn't say that unless I'd seen it over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And people just, they're just not ready. They're not ready for the amount of activity that goes into it, the commitment, the pressure, the accountability. There's all kinds of different contributors.
What do you think? What's your opinion on? Because if I look at our agency, dude, it's a very small percentage of people that kill it. But in my world, it's very much related to activity. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're struggling, you're probably not working at all. What do you see all the salespeople you've talked to over the year? Maybe the difference in someone making a couple $100 grand versus the ones that just keep struggling and they just. What do you see from your perspective, dude?
I think it's a combination of the work ethic, the activity, and the mindset.
Yeah.
I had my brother working for me from like 2019 until July of 2022. And we were raised in the same house. We're 4 years apart. We built the same houses together. We're different people, but we have very similar personalities and all these different things that came together to make us, when we started working together, he was very similar to me. Like, he wanted to go do it. And the first time I knocked the door with him, he stumbled all over himself and he was all embarrassed. And he's like, I know I can do this. And I just do it terrible when I'm in front of you. But then once he got it, man, he didn't stop for like 18 months.
Yeah.
He didn't stop. He made, that's the most anybody has ever sold in windows, will ever sell in windows. I'm sure the most volume by one human being that is even possible. Like, he did not stop, like 6-7 days a week for 18 months. And in 2020, he made $550,000 selling windows.
That's dope.
It's crazy. And it has a lot to do with just our mentality. Like, we just believe we're supposed to fucking win.
Yeah.
We got what it takes. We were conditioned to believe that we were meant for greatness and that we're an example to everybody around us. And then we just go and put in massive amounts of action.
Yeah.
And that's what separates the people that are, struggling. They got 1 or 2 this month and they're complaining about everything, is they're not putting in the action. They're not developing themselves. And they just don't believe it as strong as some people do, that they're supposed to win.
Yeah, it's true. And like Victor said, do more, make more. Always, Victor. It's funny, like, no matter who we talk to on here, it's like, dude, it's the same stuff. Like, people out here wondering why they're not having success. Dude, I would bet anything you aren't putting in the work. You know what I mean? There's certainly other factors, but at its core, it's belief and work, man. Outside of that, dude, there ain't a ton of difference.
No. The success principles, all the hundreds of books I've got behind me, the messages are all very similar. Everybody has these very similar success principles.
Yeah. How do you, no, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say work ethic, belief, activity. And then of course you got to continue to develop your skills.
Yeah. How do you, what do you look for, man, when you're recruiting? And how do you discern if someone's going to be a good fit early, or can you?
I've got a couple questions that I asked that are kind of trying to draw out that belief that people have in themselves.
Okay.
I think that's a strong indicator how much they believe, no matter if they've been here or not, if they've ever done sales. Mm-hmm. If they just have this conviction about their capabilities and their ability to just take something and run with it. My daughter's waving at me.
I love it. You should bring her on.
Hey, come here, babe. But there's
what do you ask? What are the questions?
Some people you have to inject it into them.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just like pouring out of them. Come here, sweetie.
What's up?
I'm on Tactical Thursday with my friend John Whitmore. And there's a bunch of people watching us right now. You getting ready for school? You smell good. What is that? Yogurt? Can I have a kiss?
I love it.
I love you, sweetie.
I love you.
Bye. 3. You got 3, right?
3 kiddos.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I love it.
She's my youngest. Ava's 8.
8. How old are the other 2?
11 and 17.
Okay. Cool. I got 5 myself. 3 similar ages, and then I got 2 in their 20s.
So one of the questions I ask,
yeah,
with as little as you know about my company, how do you feel like you would fit into my culture and my environment? How do you think you would handle the pressure of this type of environment? Because I just get done telling them about all the expectations and the activity and how closely we protect our culture and our environment with JKR Windows, and how seriously we take our core values and our team expectations.
Yeah.
And then, I want to see if they're just like full of shit, if they're going to blow smoke, or if they've just got like this confidence pouring out of them about wanting to be a part of something like this.
Yeah. Makes sense. What about the guy? How about the guy that sounds good, smells good, looks good, says all the right things, and it just doesn't perform, dude? How do you deal with it after the fact, man? And like, how much time do you pour into people? I see a lot of guys trying to build in this world, in my world, insurance, and they spend so much time trying to like develop someone and change them and drag them to, like, how do you manage that dude, that personality? You cut them out, or do you talk to them, or?
I probably give people more chances than I should, because I was kind of the underdog, and I had to do it all myself. And I wish that I would have had some of that extra attention, that leadership, that mentorship earlier on.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of craved it. And even though it kind of molded me into who I am, and then the reason I had success was because I didn't have those things. Now I feel like, I can give people a chance that wouldn't normally have a chance if we provide them some of those things.
Yeah. But
we set high expectations, man. It's like, you're going to have to do this mostly on your own. And if you're not up for that kind of work, it's probably not, sales probably isn't for you. And so I try and set really clear expectations and take it back and get them to recommit to these expectations and the activity that's going to be necessary for them to come in here and be successful.
Yeah.
And then being transparent in the system. Yeah, you got to be transparent.
Yeah, instead of like, you can make $1 zillion, it's easy as can be, just show. Yeah. I see a lot of people sell insurance. Like when I was new to insurance, I used to sell it backwards.
Yeah.
How simple it was, and anyone can do it.
That was what one of the things that rubbed me sideways about Primerica when I first started with those guys.
Yeah.
Was there were some guys making great money.
Yeah.
And that was, right after all these guys were coming off of their best years ever during all the mortgages and stuff like that. And now they're selling the dream, and they're selling this false dream to guys like me that were mechanics and had grease under their nails and smoke weed every day. Yeah. Like, it's easy, bro. All you got to do is just show up. It's like, no, you gotta believe in something. You gotta have something to believe in, to get excited about, to have enthusiasm about, to be able to go and put yourself through that kind of, the agony of learning sales and insurance, especially for a young man like me. It was like, I didn't have any examples of people that truly believed in what they were doing. It was just like everybody was blowing smoke, and I just couldn't get behind it.
Yeah.
But Windows, that's why when I built this company, it's like, I got to have something so strong for myself to believe in, and all this energy and enthusiasm pouring out of me about what we do and what separates us and how much of an opportunity this is for people, that it's 100% genuine, and they can tell, and they want to be a part of something like this. It's going somewhere, and they've got opportunity for growth and advancement. So you don't have to fake anything. Nobody in my company has to fake anything. It's like, we've continued to deliver and grow year over year and offer this opportunity and environment to be a part of that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Joe has another question. He wants to know how often you hold meetings, and what are some of the things you cover during sales. I'm assuming he means like sales.
Yeah.
Sales team.
You know what, Joe? The way that I talk right now, the reason I'm so fluent in this, because this is what I do day in and day out. I eat, sleep, and breathe JKR Windows. And this is the same stuff that I talk about every day. We do sales meetings 6 days a week. 9 o'clock in the morning, we call them a jump start. Everybody meets there before we go out into the field. And we're pumping everybody up. And we call it a jump start instead of a meeting for a reason, because we're trying to get everybody fired up to go out there.
So y'all meet physically in the office, and then everybody goes and starts canvassing.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, no matter where we're at, if we got to drive 45 minutes or an hour, or we're meeting in an Airbnb.
Yeah. I've
got my whole team is in Bullhead City, Arizona right now, and they're staying in Airbnbs. And everybody piles into one Airbnb in the morning, and we all do a jump start, get everybody fired up, and then we go out of the area.
Crazy. Are you in Utah, or did I make that up?
Yep, I am in Utah.
Okay, so y'all will, as a group, go out of state to do this in Kansas.
Yeah. So we're located in Utah. I got 2 physical locations, one in southern Utah, one in northern Utah. And then we do blitzes between Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, and Colorado. And then we'll go, we'll do these little pod trips with 3 dudes. We'll do a half a team with 10 people. And then right now we're doing our 4th quarter blitz. And we just take the entire company and put them in 3 or 4 Airbnbs, and everybody goes to one city that we've tested out, and we know we're going to see a bunch of success there. And we go blow the doors off of Bullhead City.
Dude, I had a guy interview with us yesterday, and he didn't want to leave his county, bro. I was like, yeah, you're not going to be a fit here. Dude,
Yeah.
so do you have one like near St. George? Is that where Southern is? You got it
So
in that area?
my office is in St. George. That's where
Okay.
everybody meets for St. George.
And then where up north? Where at there?
And then I've got another one in Draper.
Okay, I don't know that
That's
either.
just
So,
south of Salt Lake.
okay, cool. So like probably in 2015, dude, I used to fly to Salt Lake City. I stayed in Park City, and I would sell in like, dude, it was cool because it was like 4 counties up in Utah. What I loved about there is everything's between those mountains, and all the
Yeah.
houses are on the same. They're like, dude, you can bang houses so quick. I worked in
Absolutely.
like, is it Davis, Weber County or something like that?
Weber, yep.
Weber County, Salt Lake, and is it Utah County? Is that a county?
Utah
I think there's
County.
4 counties right there. Dude,
Yep.
I used to fly in on a Sunday, run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, drive down to St. George, run all day Friday, and then drive to Vegas and take a red eye home, get home Saturday morning.
Wow.
Dude, I sold an ass ton of insurance in Utah.
They're one of the best markets on the planet for knocking doors. And, just I think the culture, the people. I've knocked doors in a half a dozen states now. And there's just nothing like Utah and St. George. When I first started in St. George, smaller community, and I'd always made excuses about I was too small and there's not enough opportunity there. It's all this bullshit excuses. And we've had more success in St. George per capita than any other city that I've ever knocked in.
No kidding. Isn't that crazy? I liked it there. They used to, I'll never forget. They were great people, middle income America, just cool people out there. But every time I went, dude, they heard some accent that I don't know I have. They'd be like, where are you from? Texas, Alabama, Tennessee. And every house I went into, I got to like play this whole accent game. It was really cool. Yeah, it was wild.
Where are you from, John?
So I'm from Boston, but I live in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta since 2005. So almost 18 years or something like that. I've been in Atlanta. So I had to.
So you got a little bit of that Boston accent. You still got family back in Massachusetts?
Yeah. Yep. My mom and aunts. I have a small family, but they're mostly up there. And so you'll hear words more than you'll hear the accent. I go back home now and I'm like, dude, did I used to talk like this?
Yeah.
But you'll hear some words and some sayings. And yes, Joe, ass ton. That is one of my. It is what it is. But yeah, he's making fun of me, and I don't know if you can see the chat or not, but yeah, I do. I got some family up there. We just went up and visited. I just got back like a few weeks ago, and I don't miss it.
Does your accent come out when you get around all those guys that talk with that thick accent?
Dude, what's crazy, bro, is when I go back home, they make fun of me for my accent here. All they hear is Southern.
No way.
Yo, dude, it's nuts. I get made fun of here for sounding like I'm from the North, and when I go home, they're like, "You ain't one of us anymore," and they make fun of me for sounding like I'm from Atlanta. I'm like, I can't win.
Oh, that's
I roll
awesome,
with it. I just roll with it.
Yep.
Yeah, and if any of y'all have any other questions, feel free to put them up. We'll chat a few more minutes and let them wrap. Dude, give them anything you want to talk about, bro. I know you've got a lot going on. If you want to give people somewhere to follow you, what you got coming out, anything you want, dude. Just anything you want.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I love coming on this stuff, just being able to share experiences, and I'm actually writing a book because that's something that I love so much. It's called All In: Get Unstuck, Accelerate, and Go Further, Faster. And I've been working on this thing for 2.5 years now, but we're just doing the final revisions. I just finalized the cover. I've got a couple other things that they keep telling me that I need to do for acknowledgments and stuff like that. But it's coming out here in the next couple of months. So I'll have to come back on when I get the book done and have a link ready for everybody to pull it up. But you can also find me on Instagram at Jefferson K. Rogers. I do daily content and just putting out more stuff about what we've been talking about here, just sales and life and marriage, relationships, leadership, accomplishment.
You talk about a lot of cool stuff, dude. You got a wide range. You're not like a one-trick pony. The stuff you talk about is pretty neat. I like following it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I love doing it, man. And this is, there's some content from this that'll end up on Instagram and YouTube and all kinds of stuff, because it's, you never know where the golden nuggets are going to come from. And one thing that that I know people are dealing with in this group is, the same thing that we all start with before we've ever held up the phone and done a video is just overanalyzing and wonder if you've got anything that's relevant to talk about. And every single person in this group has something that's unique to them.
Yeah. That
there's some other person or hundreds and hundreds of people that are going through something very similar. So when I started, it was, I didn't think I had much to talk about either. I was just challenged to go start making content and getting out of obscurity and talking about my story. And I just started videoing myself while I was out knocking doors. It was just part of my journey. I just set up a couple appointments today. It was a great day. I worked through the snow and then it started raining and I'm out here anyways. I got my 6 hours in. I set 5 appointments. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Let's make this the best month ever. And those were some of like the original posts I did, was just, just pumping myself up. And I was kind of giving advice the way that I do now, but a lot of the stuff that I do is just like pumping myself up and giving myself advice and talking myself through all the shit that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And there's other people that are going through the same thing. And I started getting just people coming out of the woodwork telling me how proud of me they were. And we love seeing your content. And it was raw and rough. And I stumbled all over myself, but I was doing it. And people just love to see people, even if it's rough and raw, just doing it.
Yeah, I agree. It's cool to see I wish I did it earlier. Like when I was in the field, my excuse is I give myself, I'm like, the social media wasn't what it is today then. But I do wish I started it sooner and shared more of that journey. I did it more of an internal, team calls, sales calls. We had a little Slack, similar to Slack. It wasn't Slack, but something similar. I wish I put more stuff out early in my career. Because I've seen a lot of benefit just since it's been quite a few years since I've been doing it now, but it's crazy how much it's wild to me how much it impacts people you never know. You don't even see or hear from, or every once in a while I'll go somewhere and they'll be like, dude, appreciate all the stuff you put out. And I don't even know them. It's pretty wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen you've been turning it up over the past year and a half since we met and really putting out more content and dialing it in. It looks like you're using a social media team now, and it's we can make an impact everywhere we go, and you've got an even farther reach, with these platforms. I started out with, just a couple of years ago, I just started an Instagram account and I just went over 121,000 followers.
Dang.
And when you say that you don't think you have anything relevant to say, and it's all just bullshit. I started out saying the same stuff.
Yeah, we tell ourselves crazy things sometimes, dude. Do you have a podcast too? Your own?
So I started a podcast back in 2020.
Okay.
And it was, talking about a lot of the same stuff, just bringing on business owners and entrepreneurs, talk about success stories. It was called All In with Jefferson Rogers. That's kind of become my brand, is All In.
I love it.
But in late 2020, early 21, I started slowing down on it. It wasn't really serving the company. It was taking a bunch of time. So I ended up switching gears and doing an internal podcast for JKR Windows. So every week I do recognition and shout outs, and I'm trying to get to a point where I'm explaining it a little bit better, because I'm making it all public, so that everybody can tune in and see that, this is an internal podcast with the last 5 to 10 minutes focused on personal development and growth and focus and, some sales strategies, things like that. Yeah. So then it's all still relevant for anybody else out there that wants to watch it.
I love it. That's how we did it for years. I always had internal stuff. We had all kinds. I have so much internal content. I'm like, how do I not share it? It took me forever to do it. But it's tough. It's tough balance, dude. Cool. Anything else you want to share, dude? Here's how I always like to do it. You've given some dope stuff. Again, Tactical Thursdays. I always ask people at the end, if you could give one tip that you think someone could go out and implement, like right when we hit end, and impact their business, their career today, what would it be?
I think you've got an example of how it's been done, and it's never going to be the same. But one of the ways that I was able to see success, and I know that people in this room are looking for something that they can tap into to be able to go to the next level. John has already done it. The guy has already done it. And he's here putting out content every single day about the things that he has done that you could apply. And there's been hundreds of books written. But what I did was, early on for me, it was Grant Cardone. And he didn't do windows, but he did sales.
Yep.
And he had created this incredible lifestyle for himself, coming from a similar background as me with drug addiction and, growing up in a blue collar family. And I was like, if this guy can do it as rough as he is around the edges, still to this day, after doing it for this many years, why not me? All I got to do is go follow a similar model as what he did, and write my goals down every day, get up early, read a book, and continue to seek more information, and then go put these big ass goals together in an action plan to back those up and just go execute. It's as simple as that. There's everything that you want to do has been done in some way, shape, or form.
And all you got to do
just go emulate it.
That is definitely true, bro. I love it, man. Well, I appreciate your time. Let you go get the kiddos ready for school. If I can help with anything, dude, let me know anytime. And when the book comes, let me know. We'll get you back. We'll get you back on for sure.
Okay, I appreciate that.
All right,
everybody.
Have a good day. Later, guys.
Later on.
See you.